Two things that come to mind when I think of uncertainty and dealing with uncertainty. The first one is one of the four noble truths of Buddhism. In my younger years, my late teens and early 20s, I spent a lot of time with the abbot of the Buddhist Center. And he taught me, obviously, Buddhism, but taught me a lot about meditation and how to sit with your mind and observe the craziness of the mind and not be attached to it, to be able to observe it as something that is a part of you but not you. And through those teachings, one of the things that Chögyal Lama Shedrup taught me is the law of impermanence. And it's a logical, practical, obvious law, and that is that everything is ever changing and impermanent. As much as we like to think that mountains don't change and trees don't change that much, or the sky doesn't change, or countries don't change, it gives us a sense of certainty to think in that way. But the truth and the fact is that everything is changing. Rocks are ever changing. Everything is in a constant state of motion. And in Buddhism, this is called impermanence. And if we try to attach our comfort, our security, our confidence to anything that's impermanent, then we are going to suffer. And our suffering is coming from attachment, trying to hold on to something to give us certainty when that very thing is constantly changing, is making a choice to constantly suffer. So holding on to attachments in life, such as our career, the economy, where we live, human beings, animals, if we are attached to these things in a sense that we are using these things to give us certainty, then we have made a decision to be in a constant loop of suffering, because these things that are impermanent can never give you a sense of certainty and permanence. And so for me, understanding that, I do my best to find certainty inside of myself, and therefore when things change around me, I don't lose my certainty with those changing things. My certainty isn't changing with the things that I'm attached to because they're not attached. And so personally, I believe that the more unattached we become, the less suffering we experience. Now, just as a little side note on that, it does not mean that I do my best to become unavailable and uncaring and dissociated from my world. I also believe that we're here for a purpose and for a reason. And if we're not, then at least thinking that way creates much better behavior inside of us. However, understanding that these things are ever changing, and if we attach our certainty to these things, then we're going to have a constant state of uncertainty. This is a fact that tells me that I need to find certainty inside of myself, and certainty inside of the fact that I am in control of my thoughts. Whether I'm unconscious of my control of my thoughts, or whether I'm conscious of the control of my thoughts, does not change the fact that I am in control of the direction of my thoughts, therefore my emotions, therefore my behaviors, therefore my relationships, career, and everything that I interact with in my life. So for me personally, understanding that everything is impermanent and everything is in a constant state of motion and change, I do my absolute best not to seek certainty in changing things, because it will never work. So for me, the certainty in being able to move and use my body in the ways that I choose to, the certainty in being able to choose the direction of my thoughts consciously to create emotions, relationships, and situations that are positive. Whether they're positive or negative doesn't matter, that's up to you. You can choose those things, but at least reducing your suffering by reducing your amount of attachment to stuff is going to improve your life. So let go of those things that you're attached to, is my suggestion. Expecting that anything in physical reality is not going to change, is ignoring the fact that everything is in a constant state of change. At least in 3D physical reality, everything is constantly changing. So the less attachments we have to the 3D physical reality, and the more we discipline and control ourselves to find certainty inside of our psychological, emotional, physical system, then we can start to move away from the suffering of wanting things to never change in a world where things are always changing. And I believe that that has served me really well.